Hi there, I'm Tirza, and I am the founder of Rise Founders, our Young Entrepreneurs program. I want to use this opportunity for the next 30 or 40 minutes just to walk you through what the course will cover and a little bit of a background as to why. This is geared for young teenagers who are going to take my course, but also for moms and dads, just to get you a little more familiar as to what your young person will be experiencing and what they will gain by the end of it. We don't really know what the world is going to look like in the next 10, 12, maybe even 5 years. It's changing so rapidly. And interestingly enough, and this comes from me as a educator for 25 years, both in the classroom as well as for governments around the world, I know that education is not changing rapidly as the rest of the world. And it's definitely not changing as rapidly as it should. I just want you to consider this for a moment. Things that your grandparents were doing in school are the same things that your children are still doing in school. Think about this for a moment. When your child walks out of the classroom, there's going to be the phenomenon of AI and all that that's going to bring in the next 5 or 6 years. We don't even know what that looks like. There's going to be new technologies, new machines, new types of work that we don't even know exists. And yet, we're only teaching what we know. And we're only teaching what's been in place for the last century. This is folly. And really, a new future needs a new education. Now, I know that we can't immediately just go and run away and pull our kids out of school. That's not what this is about. But I am offering you an opportunity to learn the skills that schools are not teaching you. And the reason that they're not changing is because governments are forcing them to deliver and enact a curriculum that actually doesn't suit you for your life outside of those classroom walls. And even if you're fantastic at learning all the things that the teachers give you and getting straight A's across the board, doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to have everything you need when you walk into that company or when you choose to start your own business. Because bosses, CEOs, business partners, stakeholders are looking for certain skills that are not being taught in the classroom. So next 30 minutes, I'm going to be inviting you to join me to discover how you can engage with Rise Founders in order to learn just some, if not more than you think, of those skills that you really will need when you leave school. Have you heard your kids come home and say, "Oh, I'm just so bored at school"? That's disengagement, and we see it over and over and over again. My team of 38 advisors that I led for 15 years across the UK government used to tell me all the time that that was one of the biggest challenges that they saw in school. Kids disengaged because they're bored, because the information either is not relevant, they already know it, or they're never going to learn it. That results in lack of motivation or disengagement, as we say. Feeling unmotivated, and therefore you disconnect completely. And the reason why is because they know they don't need it. How many of them have said to you, "We've learned this thing in school today that I'm never ever going to use, and I just know it"? Because there's an app for much of what we teach them. And on top of it, they're stressed because they know they have to sit a test for that piece of information that they've been struggling to retain because it's not engaging, because it's not relevant or meaningful in their life. And that anxiety and stress that happens within our schools is growing by the year, and it's absolutely crippling for so many of our young people because they know that if they don't get that grade, they're not going to be able to qualify out of school or get into university or maybe get the job that they're after. And it causes a lot of sleepless nights and other mental health challenges that we see across our nations. Have you ever heard your kids say, "Mom, this is not what I need when I leave school. I want skills that I am going to use to start a business, or I want knowledge that I need for that interview, or for writing that CV, or for budgeting and finance, or for public speaking," whatever it might be, traveling the world. They know what they're needing, and that doesn't sit in the textbooks and the curriculums of our countries. And finally, that makes them know for certain and makes them feel disillusioned that they are not future ready. And I'm telling you now that the education that's happening within our schools doesn't really enable them to be future ready, at least 85% of it. More and more CEOs and bosses and professionals are telling us we're not actually looking for A to C degree levels or distinction level degrees or this grade level degree. We're actually looking for life skills. We're looking for evidence of creativity and soft skills and leadership and confidence in communication and cultural global awareness, risk taking, project management. This is what they're looking for. And yet we're teaching our kids all the skills that they need to pass tests and get high grades and degrees. And in the world today and in the jobs that are available today, you don't always need those traditional degrees. And just remember, education was developed and designed hundreds of years ago when we really needed people to move into factories and into the industries that we were generating. It was the world where we were making things, where the evolution of materials and factories, etc., were growing exponentially, and we needed workers to make that happen. But now those methods are really outdated. Look at this classroom back in the, I don't know, early 1900s. Well, unfortunately, our classrooms don't look much different today. There's a little more stuff on the wall and a little more showcasing of some IT equipment, etc., in our schools. But the way that we run the education day is basically the same as when it was originated. And so what we're seeing is a huge skills gap. More and more young people are crying out saying that we're just not having the skills that we need. They don't teach us that in schools. Even young people who've been on my course, they say we have an enterprise and an entrepreneurship program in our school, but they just teach us the stuff in textbooks. Whereas your course, we actually go and make the business. And the skills that you learn from a textbook are completely different than the skills that you learn by doing. So what our teens today really need is personal development, directly connected to helping them know who they are. Being really self-aware and having that true confidence in themselves. It doesn't matter if they're different than the rest of the kids in their class, or if they learn different or are interested in different things, or if they need different time or space in order to really get engaged or retain big information. It doesn't matter, because those things that make them different are the things that make them fabulous. And those are sometimes their superpowers. But yet often they grow to believe that they're not so cool, or they're not so great, or they aren't superpowers, but in fact the opposite. Because why? Because they're not fitting into the mold that is the education system. So what we need to do is get rid of that shame, that labeling, the stuff that happens in school halls, and replace it with true emotional intelligence, both about themselves, knowing where and how to regulate, both to others, and to have that confidence to believe that they can achieve whatever it is they set their mind to achieve. They need practical experience. We shouldn't have a lesson on money or a term on money or finance or marketing or IT. Did you know most schools today still have IT suites? So kids go out for an hour twice a week, maybe once, and they get an IT lesson, and they have an IT subject. Where in the world do we use IT just to use IT? We don't. We use it for a purpose. It is a tool, a conduit for getting something done, which should be an integral part of our competency development. And we need real skills with money, with marketing, with business planning, with idea development, and then taking that idea and putting landing gear on it and making it real. How to communicate with people. These, what I have listed here, are just a small drop in the ocean of those life skills kids need. But I have seen it for the last 30 years of my life, that when educators work with me to alter the way they teach and replace it with true project-based learning, the outcome for young people is absolutely astounding. The academic attainment, the achievement across all aspects of their life, the interest, the maturity, and all those life skills that we want to see are otherwise known as, I call them, CEO skills. Because whether it's academic or, emotional or soft skills, if it's done from an intrinsically motivated individual because they are solving problems, they're creating a project, those skills are lifelong. They really also need entrepreneurial thinking. What does it take to be an entrepreneur? It takes failure, it takes grit, it takes ideas, it takes persistence, it takes focus. I'm sorry, but in school, they don't get those skills. Why? Grit, you don't really have to work too long or too hard for much. You sit your one lesson, you do your few tasks, you keep it in your working memory, you sit the exam and then forget it, right? You don't really need to be a strategic thinker or to be creative or solve problems because the teacher's already solved those problems for you. They've given you a lesson. Here's the worksheet. Here's the task to achieve. Please complete it and then be invited to leave my classroom. Long-term project-based learning completely removes the teacher's role and it replaces it with learning. It replaces it with experiences that result in understanding and in deep conceptual awareness. And finally, do not teach resilience or being willing to make mistakes. And we know that the most successful millionaires and billionaires across the world failed at least 5 times. And what does it take? It takes getting back up and trying again. It takes being willing to make a mistake. It takes being willing to communicate that to someone. Oh, I don't think that worked, without feeling that you need to be so ashamed of yourself. Or worse yet, suffer mental health problems because you're not perfect. And even in aviation and in surgery, it's continually changing. But I get it. There are some certain core things that you really need to know because other people's lives are at stake. But otherwise, architecture changing all the time. And we need people with ideas. Businesses, we're young people who are 10, 12, 15 years old are growing into becoming millionaires because they're creating businesses that nobody's ever heard of before. And people are buying them for thousands and thousands of dollars. They didn't get a degree for that. They learned to think, believe in themselves, try, focus, really do it until it worked again and again and again. And finally, I'm going to harp on communication skills because the world is getting smaller and smaller. The world is getting more and more rapid and different in the way we communicate. And we're communicating with people who grew up in cultures or communities that are completely foreign to us. And in order for us to be successful, we have to engage with them. We have to connect with them and they have to understand us. So therefore, that means we need to respect them. And in order to respect them, we have to have an open mind. And this global communication is so, so vital. And if you come from a country, an area where you don't have a lot of other diversity going on, then you have to study it. And even if you do have diversity going on, you have to study it. Somebody has to teach you that this person is different to you and your mind. And you need to respect that. And we'll also start to eradicate the opportunity or possibilities for some of the fascism and some of the dogma that we're seeing across the world right now and the horrors that are around the corner. We need to change that. And that has to come from as young as possible. It has to start being learned from then. Again, we need visionary leadership and we need to be able to communicate that visionary leadership to others. We need to get them excited about what they're going to be doing. And the younger we start doing that, the more easy it's going to become as we go through life. We need to be confident in public speaking and putting together our ideas and communicating those ideas. We need to find the right words. And we can't do that behind a text or behind ChatGPT. We have to be full of our subject and we have to find the language that makes somebody say, I want to listen more. We need to have digital collaboration. We need to know and be mature about how to use these things properly, how to use ChatGPT or other AI tools that are swarming and taking over our world right now. But the sooner we teach it, the less problems we're going to have because we'll be able to go into it into a mature way. These are just a little bit of the skills that kids need today, but I think that they sum up the crux of good starting points. And this is what we cover at the Young Entrepreneurs course and in So let's jump straight in and find out what the Rise Founders program is going to offer you or your teenager, depending on who's watching. I'm going to give you an overview, but of course, there's always my email that you can contact me or my phone numbers, and they're all in the write-up below this video. So once again, please don't hesitate to get in touch with me and ask for any questions that you have. But I hope that the next 20 minutes is going to give you a good overview so that you can know exactly what you're signing up for. So firstly, it's a 16-week program. It's for teenagers starting at the ages of 11, which technically is not teenager yet. But like I said, the younger we start, the more we can really begin to embed these skills. And the program is divided into 3 different phases. So we have the first phase, which is 11 to 14 years. The next phase is 14 to 16 years. So you can see there's a little overlap there over the 11 to 14 and the 14 to 16, but you can choose what age and capacity and interest level your 14-year-old is at. And then we move over to 17 to 21-year-olds. And that's a much more work experience type course than that of one that would be a supplement or an addition to their school-based learning. Okay, the course is 100% purpose-driven. Now, I just want to highlight that because I want you to ask me, whose purpose? I can guarantee you right now, it's not mine. It's not my purpose, it's the purpose of your teenager. So it's their interest, their ideas, their driving purpose, all connected to what they believe they can offer their community or others. We root it in Ikigai, of which you'll hear about in a moment, which helps them to fully recenter into themselves, their superpower, their brilliance, and then how that emulates out to their community and how that then resums back up in their life in order to pay them the salary or the money that they need to continue to do that. We're using a very modern toolkit. Firstly, it's online, so you can access it from anywhere in the world. We try to use UTC timing, which is global timing, so that we choose slots that no matter if you're logging in the morning or you're logging in at night, you'll be able to cross-collaborate with kids across the world. Additionally, I have a lot of knowledge and embedded into the course are tools such as Canva, funnels, social media, a host of AI tools to make videos, to edit scripts, to edit video content, to generate video content, all the way ranging from ChatGPT to Blaze to InVideo to HeyGen to the Great Discovery. There's a range of AI tools that they can be using, and of course there's hundreds more. And many of them are going to come with ideas themselves, and we have opportunity to delve into it, give them the capacity to go in and learn. And on that note, because it is 100% a project-based learning program, there's only 20 minutes of each lesson where I'm talking and sharing a new bit of learning or helping them to realign their thinking or learn a particular skill. After that, they all have us in the corner on our Zoom call, and then they have their Canva open, or they have their Excel spreadsheet open where we're doing finance together, or they're learning to use ChatGPT to do some research. So they each have their own open. And you don't have to pay for all of these platforms at this stage. So it doesn't get more expensive for you, and you can still access the depth of the course. Finally, it ends with a pitch event. And these pitch events are done in different ways. If you're based in London, Valencia, or anywhere in Spain at the moment, the Madrid schools that are joining us, they're having and can have the possibility to have in-person pitch events. The schools that I'm working with across Lebanon and Dubai, we're doing pitch events, but with their community. I'm not always able to be there or someone from my team, but they will have that pitch event. And part of the pitch event is to bring stakeholders from the community into watch, to bring parents into watch, to bring their peers into watch. So it's a beautiful showcasing of what they've achieved. And who knows, maybe some investments or some partnerships or some business growth will happen for them because they have been so successful in articulating their business, delivering their elevator pitch, and showcasing their products or their service so that they interest those people in their community that might just be their next customers. So the capacity for growth is beautiful, both personally, skill-based, and finance-based, and growth for their businesses. So it's a beautiful opportunity here for them. What do your teens actually build and gain here on the course? First, their personal brand. And personal branding right now is all the rave, because that is how people know you. There's so much noise and so many people sticking their faces on every social media platform that it's hard to find the pin in the haystack. But how do we do that? By growing our brand. And our brand nowadays is us. Long gone are the days where Nike is the only famous shoe brand around, right? Similarly, gone are the days where we only have one main singer in the community, or whatever. You get my gist. We now have to stand out in the crowd. And we do that by crystallizing our personal brand. So we help young people to, first of all, identify it in themselves, then go on to having the skills to record it, document it, get it up on LinkedIn, on YouTube, on whatever platform we're going to be using, so that when someone says, oh, tell me more about your business. Oh, here's my link tree. Please go in and see all that I've generated so far. See evidence of my skills. See what I can do. And this is where we're starting to help young people to have that long-term platform of their personal brand. They get business foundation because I believe that every person in the world should have the skills to run a business and to learn entrepreneurial skills and have the opportunity to be one. You may never, but those skills are so transferable that it's actually scary how needed they are in everything that you're doing. Whether you're a shopkeeper and you're taking initiative on how to help your boss make more money, well, then you're going to be the best employee of the month. Or whether you're working as the CEO of a company, you need to have the skills to pivot or to alter or to change or to understand people are working for you. All the things that we've talked about are so necessary, whether you become an entrepreneur or run your own business or not. They will start to develop a professional portfolio because there's evidence of something that they've built or grown or developed. Their project portfolio and evidence will be a professional reference piece of evidence for what they've achieved. Additionally, as part of the work, we're putting together a little CV. It's not really a CV, but it's your brilliance profile, your superhero profile. So what am I amazing at? What do I still need to learn? What have I done so far to prove that I'm amazing at X, Y, or Z? So it's going to be fantastic. The portfolio that they develop is really personalized and it really showcases all of them, their vision, their mission, and their ikigai. And finally, they get a network and a community, both globally and within their neighborhood town. People who are also on the course. We have a private member space in our website, so they can talk with each other, share ideas. Again, we have private Facebook pages, etc. So the community that they develop globally is really valuable, not only with understanding other people in the community, but making global connections. Who knows where the world will take them these days? So rooted within our course are these skills here that young people will 100% gain by being part of this course. I've mentioned most of them already, but here you can see a really nice overview of them. I just want to highlight one that's really important to me. And it's something that, again, I haven't highlighted yet, but we don't see happening in school. That is early financial literacy. So many people go through life not having a really deep understanding or a confidence around money. And it's definitely been something I've had to learn and overcome as an entrepreneur. But when we start early with young people and we look at money as a tool and as a vehicle for getting the things and the life and the enjoyment that we need, then it takes away any fear or stigma or shame or perhaps even, certain ideologies or mindsets around money. And we turn it into just something we have to plan for and budget for and look at really pragmatically. So super important. We don't teach it in school. We must. So they get that on this course. I've mentioned networking, critical thinking, communication, problem solving, but there it is in a snapshot. Take a screenshot if you like. I'm just going to jump a little more in depth into something that really is important. What more, you ask? Well, I'm going to just, as promised, delve into the Ikigai because it should be something that you as a family can embrace during this course as well in talking about it. This is a Japanese old ancient theory of finding your center and finding your beauty or your excellence or your purpose. And that is what is Ikigai. The first is, what do I love? What am I good at? What's my superpower? What are my interests? What are the things that come naturally to me? And those often start to guide us into our mission and our purpose. And it comes from our inner passions, the things that we just get excited about and that wakes us up in the morning. So we focus on that for the first whole zone. We've broken our course into 4 zones. And the first one is me, my why, and my superpower, my passion. Then we look outward in zone 2 and we think about what the world needs. What's happening around my community? What's happening globally? What is it that everyone is looking for? What are people buying? What are the trends? Okay? And that's in all walks of life. That starts to identify a little bit around a mission that could be shaped from my passion. Okay? Then we think about, what will people buy? What is it that people will pay for? We use research, we use talking about examples within our community, what we see, what they like to buy, personal experiences, family experiences. And then we start to link, okay, well, this is what your community needs. This is what you're amazing at. Can you generate something that is going to solve a problem or fix a pain point? It's such a key element of entrepreneurism, right? And so then if I know people will pay for it, then all of a sudden I'm developing my vocation. And if I link it then back and make sure that it really emulates what I'm good at and what my passions are, then it becomes my profession and it becomes my career. And we're not just doing a job for job's sake. We're doing it because we love it. And that's when we can really know you never feel like you're working, even for one day of your life, because everything you do and all the times that you're doing it, you're loving it. And just briefly, if we look over to the left here, we can see a little course outline. So as I said, there's 4 zones. It gives you a detail of what each zone covers and where we're tapping into different key topics of an entrepreneur. And these pages here are from a document or a syllabus that gives a full outline of the course. And you can find the link to those below, depending on what age and phase you're looking for. Again, within that same syllabus document, you will see pages that look like this, and that gives a much more detailed outline of all that will be covered across the 16 weeks. You'll see that we've tried to give opportunity for all the aspects of who you are, what's your amazingness, all the way over to organizing your money, planning your money, being strategic in your business growth and development, tapping a little bit into sustainable businesses and ethics, and then looking at how we're shaping that, what products it's going to be, and how we pitch that to the world. So it's a beautifully interactive and relevant to the world today course. So why does this matter, you ask? And why should you stop and take a look? Or in fact, give this to your child as an addition to their current life. Or maybe have it fill their afternoons if you're choosing to homeschool. Or if they're finding it difficult to go to school, then maybe this is the alternative for you. But we're not just teaching kids to run businesses here. What we're showing them is how to interact with the world around them and how to be prepared for the world around them when they get out of being a kid, and then how to lead that world that they're going to find. And remember, we talked about it's changing so exponentially that we don't actually know what they're going to be leading. So you've probably picked up, I'm not focusing too much on the skill that might test well. We're looking at skills that are transferable, that are ever changing, that are really being used in today's world. Okay? And that's what's going to teach them to learn how to learn and to learn how to lead. because the learning of something that's relevant and seeing how it's going to evolve and seeing how other people are using it differently starts to give their early young brains the idea that this is a concept. This is not a right or wrong. This is not a knowledge I have to know in order to test into it, but actually it's an essence and it's an understanding and it's a skill. And I can use that skill here where I learned it, or I can go deeper and wider and use it differently. And that's how we make leaders. We make leaders who understand that they can take what they know and then grow it and develop it, linking to their ikigai, their vision and their purpose. At our last Teen Summit and our celebration event, these are some of the things kids said. Before the course, I knew I wanted to be a businesswoman, but now I've learned that I really do have the knack for being a businesswoman, and my business is actually going to be an advisor and teach other teens how they can start their business. Amazing. I was able to empower her to realize that she's also an instructor, a coach, and a mentor. And she's already mentored 2 other young people, and it's wonderful to see the growth. Another young person, I started with the business plan, and it helped me to think about the steps that I really needed to take. And even by week 7, I was already earning money. How wonderful. Just learning that he has to plan it strategically first, put all his plan into place, he started to earn money. And at the end of every one of our 6 weeks, there will be, as I said, a pitch event and a celebration event, whether it's virtual, hybrid, or fully one-to-one or face-to-face. So I urge you to take the next step, because you're not going to want to miss out, and your young person is going to thrive. They're going to love it. And the beauty is that out of the 10 kids that came to my last course, every single one of them had a different business idea. In the school that I just worked with in England, every group decided to come up with a joint business idea. So we learned so much about teamwork, and we learned about overlapping different opinions and overlapping ideas. So the skills and capacity are just huge. And if you want your child's school to be involved, send me an email. Again, the links are in the blurb below. So first, visit my website. Again, all of my information, Facebook pages, links, email, etc. you'll find there, as well as the full syllabus, the breakdown, and other courses we're running as well. We will be running a Teen Founder Summit to launch our next course in September. So come along for free and have that session to meet other young people and get them to connect with your child, and your child can then choose which one they want as a mentor. And that's a brilliant session where the kids go into breakout rooms, they talk to each other, and they get involved. So click on the link below if you want to show up to that event. It's free of charge. And finally, there'll be another link below to secure your place and sign up for September so that we can get going. And if you're not able to do September for whatever reason, we have another one in January. You can sign up for that. We run 3 a year at the start of every term. So get involved and don't miss out. Don't forget to get involved. We really want to see you there. Here's my addresses above. Take a screenshot, and I look forward to seeing you there. But once again, you can easily just click the links in the bio. Your child's future, majors, opportunities, and what they're going to go out and do is the most important thing that you can invest in. You know it. We know it. And what they're going to gain is going to just set them up in so many ways. Not to mention, after the course, they can continue within our community, and they just grow and they flourish and they become mentors and they help the next one who comes along. So the opportunities and the excitement to have you within our Classroom of a CEO the list is long. I can't wait to get to know you. Once again, my name is Tirza Elise. I'm the founder of the Classroom of a CEO, and let's get teaching our kids stuff that they really need to learn. I look forward to getting to meet you.